So I guess this is the first official video of my channel, Blue Moon 3D Prints. So I just want to go over the setup that I have here. It's nothing too insane, but I also want to just talk about the printer that my most recent printer also, and it's the Anycubic Cobra 3 combo with the Ace Pro, and I'm honestly loving it so far. One of the better printers I have had. So right now I have it printing a new model, or not new model, but it's new to me, from Fab 365. And I have that running with a time lapse and with the smooth time lapse from their slicer. And what that does is it moves at the end of every layer, it takes a snapshot. At the end you just have a smooth time lapse of the build appearing seemingly out of nowhere. But yeah, this is just the room I have inside of my apartment here. It's almost like a giant closet. It's got one window, that's pretty much it. You can ignore that right there, that's just my my steering wheel rig, but I don't have a wheel right now because my wheel broke. But anyways, so yeah, so I have all my filaments on the shelf here. So this is all of my PLA. And I do have about 3 different brands on here. I do have Sunlu, so I just recently tried Sunlu's CMYK filament. So I got 2 bundles. I have one bundle here, and then I have another bundle still sealed sitting on the dining room table. I haven't moved it in here yet. And then these black spools here. Let me grab one. So these are from 3D Max. It's their PLA Plus. And that's actually one of the best filaments I have used as far as PLA goes. It's always been reliable. I haven't had any issues, but it's been great. I also have Elegoo's PLA Pro. Actually, no, this is is it Pro or Matte? I can't remember. Okay, it's their Pro. So it's their PLA Pro in green. And this also does some pretty good results. And then I have PLA Pro in, hold on, my camera's not tilting here. There we go. So I have it in black as well, still sealed, because I do have another roll on this stack over here. And then I have Anycubics actually, so I do have another brand. They're matte navy blue and silver as well, if I recall. Yes, I do have their silver as well, but that's on my other printer. And then down here is where I have all my PETG. And when it comes to PETG, Elegoo's Rapid PETG has been the best and most reliable one I've used. That's actually what I have printing over here on my Cobra. So that's what I have inside of the Ace Pro. So I have the blue for this model, and then I have black loaded ready to go just for the next prints in this set. And I did have to print rings because the Ace Pro does not play well with cardboard spools. So I did print these rings for it. But yeah, the Rapid PETG has been really fun. This PETG that I've had for a few years now, honestly I kind of want to just get rid of it because it doesn't even print reliably. It's from Polaroid. When it was brand new, it printed okay, but I never really was able to dial it in, and now that it's at least 4 years old probably, it's not the best. I do have the box still from the Cobra 3 combo. I don't think I need to keep it anymore, but you never know. So I always keep that. And then I just have my shipping boxes whenever I send out any models that I print. And then I have the bucket here for the poop chute. I'm going to print something better at some point, and then I have a trash can here that just holds any scraps. I have most of my tools, the Allen wrench set, pliers. It's from my Ender 3, so it's just a bunch of nozzles, needles, wrench to get the head out of the nozzle. And then up here, so I did buy one of these H1H beds for the Cobra 3, and it actually works out really well. This side, there's something about this side where I haven't quite had prints sticking very well. But this side, I mean, I haven't had issues. So I do have to clean it every now and then. Pretty much before every print on this bed, I've cleaned with IPA. and it's worked out quite well. So as I mentioned, on the dining room table I have the other set from the Sun Lucian YK pack. So it's plenty, and I've actually printed one. So you see here, I printed a 100 by 100 millimeter lithophane to print in color. Looks like there's something on here that I didn't catch before. Right there. But it actually turned out really well. I did have minor lifting towards the very end. See if I don't know if it'll focus, but once I got to like the white layers, that's when it started to warp right there. But it wasn't too bad. If I put it down flat, you can probably see just a little bit. It wasn't terrible. This was my third attempt. The first two did not go well, but it worked out really well. I mean, you can't really see it as well with this light. I mean, I don't know if I want to get it closer to get a better image, but I mean, it did turn out really well. I can probably get it better. I know it's recommended to use a 0.2 millimeter nozzle, but I could not get that nozzle to work. It started out fine, but then every color change, it started not clogging, but the extruder just could not keep up, and so the color wouldn't come out fast enough to change colors. I think that has to do with the flow ratio. I'd have to try it again on another print, but for now I printed it with the 0.4 nozzle, and for the 0.4 nozzle, like I mentioned, it did come out pretty well actually. Let me move to in my printer room. There's actually a pretty bright light in here. Like I said, it's supposed to be a closet, but the light is definitely bright enough to where you can see it better. So for using the 0.4 nozzle, it did turn out really well, I think, in my opinion. But some of the other projects, I have multiple projects I'm working on for friends. So I have one friend that wants this Yoshi model from Colts 3D, as well as another friend that wants this katana from also Colts 3D. Then I have this, it's a skeleton of a T-Rex that my friend sent me. I don't know where he got it from. He tried printing it himself on his resin printers. Wasn't quite working well for him, so he asked me if I could do it. And so far, I mean, they've been turning out really well. I don't know, see if it'll focus here. Probably not as well, but I mean, it has worked out really well. There's only one part that kind of gave me some issues, and it was this, I think this was a femur. And just the way it's laid out, obviously I would want to print it off of one of these surfaces here, but that creates a major like overhang. So I printed it on supports, and you can definitely see the scarring. The focus is not really working with me today, but definitely I don't know if it'll focus here, but there's definitely some scarring. But everything else, I mean, this one right here printed on tree supports like this, and it worked out amazing. Like the supports also, they just fell right off, and it was minimal scarring. So that worked out well. I did have to put it on a raft, and that caused just a slight imperfection, but it still worked out quite well. So this piece I'm going to have to reprint. It's supposedly part of the pelvic area, but I forgot to turn off the supports on some sections, and so there's supposed to be holes in the bottom. You can see I tried to dig it out, but it didn't quite work. So I'm going to have to reprint that because those supports just won't come out. So some more prints that I got off of the Cobra 3 are right here. So one of my favorites is this rose, and it's one of the spiral roses. So if I were to move this base up, it'll actually spin. I only got one hand available, so I don't want to drop it. But the whole petals area section will spin off of it, and it actually came out really nicely. I don't know if I can try to do it with one hand, but I don't want the leaves, because the leaves are locked in place. Like, it comes up and twists to stay up. If I were to untwist it, it'll just fall and spin down, but I don't want to mess with it right now. But it did come out really well. I'll probably put a B-roll showing here how it works. One of the very first prints I did, just because I wanted to test it out, was this Atari logo coaster. Here's the top side of it. The top side, you know, there was a little bit of bleeding, but it's the bottom side that's definitely perfect, which is the side that would face up. I also printed these Super Mario coasters as well. So here's the box that's printed, and I thought this came out super clean as well. Even all the coasters came out super clean. Like, I was very impressed with this. That is my cat Kyoto meowing. Say hi. She starts meowing, but now she doesn't want to say hi. Okay. Well, but yeah, these coasters came out super clean. See, now I'm not talking to her. She wants to meow. But anyways, put that back. This Wally here, it's not the first time I printed it on this when I printed it on the Cobra. But it's the first time I printed it in PETG. So this is also from that Elegoo Rapid PETG, and it turned out amazing. I mean, it's just, I mean, obviously it's not flawless, but it just turned out amazing. This is actually the second one I printed. The first one is at work it was sitting on my desk, but another coworker wanted it, so I let them take it. The benchies were just tests for the filaments. And some of them aren't even from, I think one of them is not from the Cobra. One of them is from my Ender 3. This was the one that came with the Cobra. It was a 15-minute benchy. And I think it turned out really well. For 15 minutes, I mean, the overhangs came out really well. I think the only issue was the front here. But that's about it. I even have this pillowcase, or pillow phone stand, which I think is pretty neat. Another thing I printed with these eggs. They came out really nicely. Printed them at the speed that's recommended with the slicer, and I think they came out really well. This one, I'm not too sure what happened at the top here. I remember it printed overnight, so I woke up and it was off the bed, off to the side where the purger is, and I don't know what happened, but it's like the nozzle just stuck, and I have no idea what happened. But other than that, these eggs came out pretty nicely. I mean, these are in PLA. And then the rose, I didn't even mention, is PLA. And then these are PLA as well. This plane here. The plane here I have printed, this actually printed on my Ender 3. And it was when I was finally getting into the point of using it to print faster, because I think with it I always printed everything like no faster than 50, I think, millimeters per second. But I started dabbling up in faster speeds, and I think this one printed at 80 millimeters a second on all the pieces. You can definitely see on the wing as it got further up, there's definitely some banding on there, on both wings. But everything else printed pretty nicely, I think. And last but not least, this is where old reliable, my Ender 3 Pro, which is not so stock anymore. I've had it for, gosh, I don't even know, 5-6 years at least, and she's still going strong. Got a UPI PEI sheet on here. This side works amazing, by the way, but the back side has the PEO or PEY, I can't remember which one it is. I had issues getting stuff to stick to it. That one did not cooperate very well with me. It also wasn't intended for the Ender 3. As you can see, it's got the notches here for the Ender 3, the V3s. And funny story, I should say, excuse me, is before I had the Cobra, I had 2 Ender 3 V3 SEs, because I was like, you know what, the Ender 3 Pro served me well. I want to get a V3 SE because Micro Center had them for $169. I was like, sure, I'll go get one. Got it. It was amazing. I was like, it's so quiet, I can't hear it. Like when I was doing the self-test, it did the test, and then I set it to start a sample print that it came with, and I was watching it heat up. Wanted to see when it would lay down the first layer. The acoustics in here are different, so I'm sorry if it sounds a little louder or more echoey in here. But anyways, yeah, I looked down and the print on the V3 SE had started. It was so quiet I didn't even realize it started. And they were great. I mean, super amazing printers, especially for their price. Miles better than the Ender 3. I mean, they were great. I immediately, a couple days later, went and got the second one. Then 2 weeks later, not even 2 weeks later, I got the Ender 3 combo, and I loved it so much. Even with the multicolor printing, the speed, which the V3 SEs, they're fast, don't get me wrong, but there was something about this printer where I was like, this printer's great. I found myself printing on it more, even for single color parts like I'm doing right now. I took back the two V3 SEs. Do I regret it? Not really. The only thing I regret is just not having more printers being able to run at the same time. I mean, I have two that I can run. You know, this Ender 3 Pro still works really well. I mean, I'm still printing parts off of it. So, but, you know, yeah, I could still use the other two, I'm sure. But I have no intention of going and buying them again. Maybe I'll buy another one down the line, but not now. I don't need it. But they're great. But this was just, I was using it more. But yeah, that's pretty much my 3D printing setup or journey, I guess you could say. Like, this was the first video I've done for this channel. Pretty much my first video ever. So I'm pretty sure it's not going to be great. There's going to be some weird cuts. Probably some bantering, like of just rambling on. Not bantering, but rambling on. Oh, and as far, sorry, the camera is over here. I printed a C-clamp, and then I printed this little mount that actually goes attached to the board shelving system to do the time lapses. See, I got sidetracked, so I'm pretty sure there's some sidetrack in this video as well. But that's gonna pretty much do it for this first video. If you have any questions on the printer, you can ask. I've used this printer quite enough now since I've gotten it. I think it definitely has well over 100 hours already, and I haven't had it that long yet. But yeah, leave a like, subscribe. You know, I'll probably try to do some more videos on stuff that I'm working on, give some updates on the printing projects that I've showed. But see y'all later.